Hi guys, welcome back. We are carrying on with our second scene. Right click here, new composition. Name it Scene 2 and use the same preset as Scene 1. But in the duration, we'll put 5 seconds, 5 frames. Okay. I've made these shapes in Illustrator that we'll use for the animation. As you can see, I've divided them into layers so I can animate them one at a time. Back in After Effects, right-click, Import File. There it is, double-click. In Import Kind, leave it in Composition, so that all the layers are imported. When you double-click on it, you'll see the layers down here. Copy them with Ctrl-C and go to the scene and Ctrl-V to paste. Close this. With them all selected, right-click and select Create Shapes from Vector Layer. And now we can get rid of this folder, as we don't need the illustration file anymore. If you see the animation, notice this box here that has the green side. This is the link to our website. But right at the beginning, it's at the bottom. So instead of moving it, we'll just change the color of the bottom one to green. And we'll change the color of the top one to gray. There we go. Let's close this motion sketch window. And let's start with the animation. The first thing we'll do is to name our elements, like these rectangles here at the sides. So we'll name this one 1, the next one 2, and 3. We'll also change the color of them to yellow, so we can tell them apart. Number 1 goes with this bigger rectangle. We'll call it 1. And then we have our main rectangle at the bottom, number 4. To tell these two apart from the rest, change the color to green. Now what we're going to do is animate each of them one by one, and we'll start with the top rectangle. Press S, add a keyframe. Go up to frame 20. Another keyframe. Put 0% at the beginning. Select both, right-click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. Okay, here's our basic animation. Now go to the Graph Editor and edit Value Graph. Click here and drag this point up here like this. Then take a look at the effect. It's like a small bounce. We can also adjust this curve to make the bounce more noticeable. We can also decrease it. Now Ctrl-C to copy these keyframes and go to the small rectangle number 2. Press S to get the scale. Then we'll go to about frame 4 and Ctrl-V to paste. And as you can see, it has the same animation. For the next one, number 3, go to frame 8, S, then Ctrl-V, and there we have it. The first 3 rectangles are now animated with that bounce effect. We'll continue with the animation of the rectangles, and at the end we'll animate the green rectangle. Let's go to the first rectangle, 1. Press S and remove the Constraint Proportions options, so we can just adjust the width. When we adjust, as you see, we do it from the anchor point. We need to place this on the side, and we'll do that with the Pan Behind tool. Click on the anchor point and drag it here on the left. And see how now the animation goes this way. Do the same for the second one. Then the third. And the fourth. Go back to the first rectangle and add a keyframe at frame 10. Then go to second one, frame 10 to add another. And at the beginning, we'll put 0% on the width. Select both, right-click, Keyframe Assistant Ease. Then in the graph editor, we are going to edit the speed. Click on the anchor point here and drag it towards the middle, like this. And the same for the other side. Let's see what effect we get. We could move it a little bit further back to frame 8, more or less. And that's the animation we have. Ctrl-C to copy these keyframes. Go to the second rectangle and press S. Then move about 3 frames further in front and Ctrl-V to paste. And as you see, we have the same effect, just a little bit later. Then we'll go another 3 forward and select the third rectangle. Press S and Ctrl-V to paste the keyframes again, and we get this effect. There's a problem here, it starts a bit too early. It should start around here. So let's move it like this. Move this one too. There we go. Now we'll start with the rectangle that's at the top on the timeline, but at the bottom of our animation. Copy the scale animation of one of the previous small rectangles. Ctrl-C. Move the timeline to around here, and then select the small green rectangle 4. Press S, Ctrl-V to paste. It's now animated. We are also going to copy the keyframes of the larger rectangles. Select Ctrl-C. Go to frame 20 and select 4. Press S and Ctrl-V to paste. And that's animated too. Go to the last keyframe, and we're going to parent it by clicking on the whirlpool and dragging to the small rectangle. And now if you move them, they are joined together. On this keyframe, change the scale to 115%. Press Shift-P and we'll add a keyframe to the position. Go to second 2, frame 10, and add another. And here we need to put this rectangle at the top. Set it to full view and zoom in. Place it here. This is our animation. On the last keyframe, go to the scale, but we'll set it to 100%. At this part, we'll put 105%, and a keyframe is created automatically. Go forward to around here and set it to 110%. Let's see what effect we have. Again, it has a slight bounce at the end. Select both position keyframes, right-click Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. In the graph editor, go to Edit Speed Graph. Adjust it like this. Let's take a look. Now these ones obviously need to go down to the bottom, so the first we'll do is parent them. We'll parent each rectangle with the small rectangles. Now press U to close all the keyframes. Select small rectangle 1, 2 and 3. Press P for the position, and now we are going to adjust them. Let's move to around here and add a keyframe on the position. Add another keyframe on the next frame just to see where it needs to go. Obviously, it needs to last longer, so we'll drag it about here. Select all the keyframes, right-click Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And again, we'll go to the graph editor and make some adjustments. Let's see how it looks. Just make the time a bit shorter here, like this. Move these last ones a bit forwards, like this. It seems that at the top there isn't enough space here, so we need to fix that. Let's lower this. And this one too. We'll also lower this one. I think it looks better now. Let's preview. And there we go. Now we need to create a text. We'll do it on this part here, far away from our keyframes. Go to the text tool. Click here and type the text you want. Select bold and choose a darker color so you can see the text properly. Under this text, place the name of your website. Make this link 30 pixels and also regular. I'm using the Verdana font. You can adjust the spacing like this. Okay, that's our number 4 text made. Ctrl D and take it down to the next rectangle. This is going to be number 1. Choose this color And now you can change the text and the link. Ctrl D to drag it down to the next one. And once again for the last one. This one is number 2. And this one 3. Remember that you can also duplicate by going to Edit and Duplicate, but Ctrl D is much faster. These 4 texts need to be parented, but not to the small rectangle, but to the big one. Let's see our animation so far. Great! We can see the effect really well. Let's create a new solid. Right-click New Solid. Call it Background. Place it right at the bottom and lock it. Now we're going to add another text to the bottom here. Grab the text tool again and just click where you want to type. Verdana Bold 75 pixels. Use this same color. In paragraph select Centered and we'll center it properly in the Align panel, just like this. Ctrl D and drag down while pressing Shift so it's straight. Here you can put a different text, so I'll go with this one. You can change the type and the size. You could also use the guide so you don't go out of the lines. Okay, great. Let's change the name of these texts to title and subtitle, for example. Okay, now here, press P for the position, and the same for the subtitle. Go to the beginning and add a keyframe to both of them. Go up to second 1, frame 20, and add another keyframe. At the beginning, we want the text to be out of view. Select both. Right-click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And in the Edit Speed graph, with both texts selected, place the anchor point towards the middle. The subtitle will come in a little later, around here. Let's have a look. Okay, this is the effect that we've created. Go to this small rectangle and press U to see the keyframes. I just want to move it forward about 5 frames, so I'll select these keyframes and drag them while pressing Alt, so they move proportionally. Okay, and these are a little bit this way. And now let's take another look. There's a small problem here where the text goes over the small green rectangle. Okay, you just need to be careful with that, so move this layer like this and let's take another look. We have the same problem here with these gray texts. So select them and put them at the bottom, like this. And there we go. Great. Now we need to make our elements disappear. We'll begin with the title and the subtitle. Press P and go to this frame here. Click on Position to add a keyframe. Go to the end and add another keyframe. That's where they'll disappear. And drag these texts out of view, like this. The subtitle will disappear first, so it needs to go a bit before, around here. Go back to the graph editor to apply this effect again. The same for the title. Okay, let's see how they disappear. We also need these to disappear. But we'll do it by animating just the small rectangles, as all the elements are parented, so if I adjust one, then all move together. So let's start by selecting the small rectangles. Press P for position. Go to around here and add a keyframe. And go forwards about here. Another keyframe. We'll move the green one to the right and out of view. The next one we'll move to the left. The third one we'll take off to the right also. And the last one to the left. Minus 972 should do it. This one's at 2040, so we'll change the other one to the same amount. Okay. They disappear, but we need to apply the same effect in the graph editor. So we'll do it for each rectangle. Good, but we need the top rectangle to disappear first, so we'll adjust it. Next comes this one, number 1. And then number 2. And 3. Let's take a look. Great! So now we've finished the second scene of our animation. So in the next lesson, we'll carry on with the third scene. See you there!